Killing with the jazz. Young in his bag. Boy got elevator slang. Boy.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you. Everybody, welcome to our next episode of What Really Matters. My name is Stefan Cherry. I'm your host, and today we have Sarah Clicks.
What's up?
Yes, ma'am. We have another veteran in the octagon and in the boxing ring, but also a veteran in real life, straight out of the military. How was that? Let's start there.
The Army was an interesting career. It was fun. I started off as a cadet at Mass Maritime Academy, so I went to Captain Phillips, the one who got boarded by the Somali pirates, his father, Captain Murphy, was my deck teacher during the whole Somali pirate thing. So he was all a mess, and he was just a hardcore dude. He made fun of women, like sexist joke, but it was just funny because there was very few women in the school at all. So all the ones that were like kind of like me, just tough, like whatever.
Just kind of laughed right out.
Yeah,
it
was fun. So it was an easy transition into ROTC, and then so I was in a simultaneous membership program, which means you're a cadet at school, like during ROTC, but you're also assigned to a National Guard unit. And I was assigned to the 181st Engineers Yankee Division, which is one of the oldest units in the military. It was one of the original Minutemen units during the Revolution. So it's one of the oldest. And then, so I was an engineer, and I was with them for a year, and I found out that they were deploying. They got deployment orders that came down, so they had a year to get ready. So I was like, all right, no, I want to go with them. And it was funny because my commander did not want me to go, because by the time they would get back, I would have been a commissioned lieutenant. And I was like, no, blah, 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 because I loved all my boys. Like, they were like my brothers. And my first sergeant was with it. He was like, hell yeah, if you can get out of the contract. He was like, I have a spot for you for the deployment. But the thing was, I had to drop the contract with ROTC, and then I had to enlist in the actual National Guard. Then I had to go to basic training, and then I had to go to AIT, all before they mobbed. So I had to hit it like fast, and the only MOS that was open was a 12 Whiskey, which is a mason and carpenter, which, Yahuwah, he was guiding my mom the whole way, because in high school she was like, get a trade, and the trade that I picked was carpentry. And then that just happened to really smooth transition into the Army, because I was a carpenter already. I was already making furniture out of trees, like milling them down and everything. So
you've always been pretty like handy, like when it comes to. It's funny because it kind of rolls right over in the fight, because it's like, so you were carpenter. I know in the Army, you were a carpenter in the Army, but not just a carpenter. Engineering.
Yeah, so
more so in general.
The first MOS, so 12 Whiskey is carpentry and masonry. So you also do stone, like mortar and everything like that. And then so it's a vertical engineering, and basically we go over and build up FOBs, which we did, which was one of our missions. Or you're attached to a combat engineer unit, you make fortifications for them.
Nice.
But then
for like the audience, a FOB is
forward operating base.
Yep. So you stood up the entire base for the smaller units that were going out.
Yeah. So when we got onto deployment, myself and my platoon sergeant were the only two females in our platoon. And our platoon was detached from the rest of our company. So they were all based mainly around CAF, which is Kandahar Airfield. And that's the big air base in Kandahar. And they were...
Where's Kandahar?
Kandahar's RC South, so southern region.
Gotcha.
And then we had the most random like jobs. So we were doing transportation. Thanks, shut up. The transportation. We were doing VIP what's it called? Like,
yeah, kind of like escort.
Yes,
yeah,
VIP escort. Excuse my mind. I'm taking a lot of shots today.
No, you're good. You're good.
So we did a lot of that, and then my deployment was crazy. I deployed in 2012 when I was 20. So I had just turned 20 when we were on Pre-Mob in El Paso. So I was the youngest and the lowest ranking and the only female. So I used to get beat up and like everything. Yeah. So I was what they call a window licker like one time, which I was supposed to be a dismount like on a convoy just in case anything happened. I'm like, whatever, that was boring. I would get car sick. And so like I was getting car sick in there. Like the up armored, we had a Mat V, which is like a big ass Jeep, basically what it looks like. And I was like, fuck this. But I was in my lieutenant. My lieutenant was also a cadet with me in the same unit, so we were really close, but he had just commissioned. And so I was like, sir, I want a chance to be your lead gunner, like your 240 gunner. And all the guys were like, oh yeah, like whatever. I'm like, all right. And so he was like, all right, like we'll like basically do tryouts because it was still like the first month of deployment for like positions, everything. So they like grilled me, so I had to know all like, you know, range of fire, everything, herringbone formations, what to do, 5s, 25s, all this. So because if I was the lead gunner, I had to control the whole convoy.
For sure.
And so we did a range day with the 240s. The 240 Bravo, that's a weapon that I have right here.
Hey.
And it's a belt fed weapon, fires a 7.62 round, so it's big. That's why they were like, oh, you can't, but I could carry it, and then I have an A gunner, so he carries my ammo for me. And I'm like, period, like, you know what I'm saying? So I had the best score. I was the only one who shot expert on it. And then I could clear it, disassemble it, reassemble it, do a functions check, blindfolded faster than any of the guys could do it, unblindfolded. And then I was we had to do the shadow boxes where they open the box, and you had to memorize items, colors, shapes, and then you close it and open it and see how many you can get right.
Back out to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I did the best on that, and I'm just like, you can't mess with me.
So it sounds like in the Army, like it was almost like you were fast tracked through. Okay, you chose to go the cadet route, so you were going officer.
Yep.
And while you were in that training, you were kind of like, hey, I see this group coming in that I really want to move with. What do I have to do in order to move with them? Because I see that they're about to go on a movement.
Yeah.
I want to take that movement. What do I need to do?
Yep.
And they were kind of like, your first shirt was kind of like, hey, you got to go straight to basic training so we can go ahead and get you through there. Then we got to get you trained up on what your equipment is going to be, what your job is going to be. Then we got to get you essentially put into the unit, which I'm a veteran myself, so I know processing can be a fucking headache by itself. So then once we get you processed and all of this stuff, then we can actually make sure you're cleared to go on this movement. And so from there, like, did you ever... So you didn't choose to go officer. You didn't choose to go the officer route at that point, did you? Or did you just stick with enlisted?
Yeah, I fell in love with being enlisted because, like, when I went in as a fuzzy or E1, and then I got promoted to E3 during basic. Because like they fast tracked me through like the paperwork and everything because I was a stellar. Like,
it sounds like it.
Cadet / soldier. Like, I was killing everybody on the ruck marches, like the land nav. I was like shooting everything. So when I was like, yeah, I'm going to go enlisted, they were like, and the battalion already knew me, so my paperwork got shit through fast. Fire. And so like, I got into a fight during basic, but my drill sergeants loved me. So literally it was like this massive thing. It was like 17 people got recycled through except for me. And like everybody except for me got recycled through because my drill sergeants absolutely loved me. They would like make fun of me. We would like joke together. we would joke together and everything. And ma'am, no, my dog.
We have company, by the way.
Yeah.
This is family, so they're here to chill. Ain't that
Yeah,
right,
it's
girl?
the baby. It's the baby. Come here. You
Look
say
at her.
hi.
She said, I want on.
Just a second. She's making
Say
all the
hello.
noise.
Look at it. She's got big fast,
Yeah,
too.
she's heavy.
That is funny.
Cute. Hush, please. But yeah, so. But when we got when we got to deployment, it was crazy. Like I said, we had the most random missions because we were just whatever anybody needed, we were kind of just there. And so I got the job as the commander's gunner. And then so he went on every mission, so I went on every mission. The first one that we went on, everybody else stayed back at FOB Passab, which is where our platoon was. And a platoon is about 40 people. We have about 40 people. So I want to say about 10 of us went to FOB Frontenac, which was a blackout FOB in the mountains. And a blackout FOB, they don't use lights at all during nighttime because it's a hot spot for mortars and incoming. So they keep all the lights off. There's no lights. So everybody has to kind of wear reflective belts and use red lens flashlights. So with all the relations, the foreign relations that they were trying to do, we had ANP, which is the Afghan National Police, patrolling the base. And so one night they cut a hole in the fence. And so there was a bunch of insurgents that got onto the FOB. And mind you, it's blackout, so we can't see anything. Everybody's shooting everywhere. And then my homegirl, she was a medic and her roommate were a medic. And her roommate was about my size, a little bit skinnier. And she got a Bronze Star for Valor because they were in a striker unit, a striker infantry. And so she was carrying dudes. She had a lot of adrenaline. She was carrying dudes up to the casualty collection point. They were rendering aid. She used herself as like a human shield for my homegirl so she could go get her body armor. And it was just a crazy night. And so we were there for like a couple more days, came back to reset.
But right there, right? So what year was
this? 2012.
And that's Afghan?
Yeah.
Afghanistan?
This is the same year ISIS became a thing. So everybody was just popping off. And so they have they have fighting seasons. So from the spring to fall, basically is their fighting season. Like when it gets warm. So when it gets, and then when it's like cold, everybody's like, fuck that. Like we're gonna just chill. So the winter time's like more relaxed, but
for sure. And during that time, like, what was your role on the base when in that capacity there?
So when I was in being a gunner, we were doing like FOMAS, or it was a cop, but it was like a tiny little outpost that wasn't really an outpost yet, and so it was us, my platoon, and a platoon of Romanians. And so we were up and it's on this plateau, and there's a hostile village over here. And then there was like little kids that kept climbing over the wall, like they would get in. So I'm like, well, the little kids can get in, like anybody can get in. So we were trying to fortify like the thing where the kids would like steal our like pens and shit and try to sell it back to us. And we were like beating up the kids, we were like spanking them and like get out of here. They were little shitheads, but they were really cute. But yeah, this fall was so scary to get up because, like I said, it's on a plateau, it's on this cliff, and this was the most fun because fall that we had because it was just us and a platoon of Romanians. So there's no rules. And we were like walking around Hawaiian shirts, like
Nice.
with body armor, and
Y'all kind of like what are they called? Not Kind of like OSI on our end. Like literally, you never know.
Yeah, we just kind of
like special forces kind of do their own thing. Yeah,
so it was us, and then the civilian contractors, the eyes in the sky dudes who always had alcohol, and then the Romanians. And so we built like a little ghetto gym and like the plateau. So the vehicles would be like this on the side, and on the gunners, I'm like, oh shit, just looking over the cliff. And then, but like when we first got there, it sucked because there's nothing there. So we had to cut one of the big oil drums in half and take the rebar, like the grade of rebar, and we took pressure treated wood, and that like started a fire. We had like meat that we had just like brought with us and cooked it because it was like nobody there at the time. And we were like, sir, like you have to get us out of here. This shit sucks. Like we're sleeping in like these tiny tents and everything in the middle of nowhere. Like what are we doing? And then he was like, all right, I'll see how to get us out of here. And then so the next morning we went to breakfast. They had frozen boiled eggs, like frozen pork. And that was our meal every day, was beans, pork, and pickles. And then there would be like maybe cabbage, maybe like a pepper, like not cooked, and like here and there. And so we were like, oh my God, we're like, no, we're over already. And then the FET team, the female engagement team, the Romanians had, they all walked in. Everybody looked like models. And we were all like, never mind, sir.
So we're good. We'll stay a little bit longer.
We'll improve the shit out of this base.
Morale just went up.
It was so funny. And like my platoon sergeant, she was gay too.
Funny.
So she's like, she's like,
yeah, we're good.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. We can do this.
Yep, we were happy. Everybody was happy. And so that's like where we were operating out of. So we still did like security convoys every day off base, but instead of being on like our main post that had like other bigger units, it was just us and that platoon of Romanians. And then our big like active duty brigade who was over us heard about us. So they sent one E6 to go watch us and everything. He was all straight edge. And it took him maybe 2 days. And he was out there lounging in a golf chair with us. He was like, yes. And somebody had mailed us like a box of golf balls and like clubs. We usually get like random stuff. So we were standing on top of the Hescos with our body armor and like helmets. Yeah, we were just sending them off the side of the cliff. And we like nailed a few cars, which is crazy because if you've seen the highways out there, there's nothing. There's only 4 highways going through Afghanistan, like when I was there. But
during that time too, but first I have to ask. So the Romanians that came in, were they like solid 10s or were they desert 10s? Because I know it's a difference. It's a huge difference between like.
I'm trying to think of how many months we were there at that point. I'm like, I think we were there 3 months, so it wasn't too bad at that point. So no, they were, and I could maybe. Now looking back, but there were a couple. One was Megan Fox because she like looked like Megan Fox. Everything. I was like.
It's funny because wasn't Megan Fox on like one of those like war type movies? I think she came out. I maybe even think about. It may have been Transformers. I maybe think about Transformers.
Yeah, she was on Transformers. I don't know. I feel like they put like the worst people in like military roles.
Yes, like, for sure. And it's
like
funny
Rihanna on Battleship.
Crazy. Makes
so
zero
bad.
sense.
No, that was so bad. I was like, what is this?
It is crazy because even when I think back like now, like my worst deployments, like I had 3, but even my worst ones, like we'd be like, oh, there's nothing here to eat, and then we'll go to the DFAC. And, it's, compared to what you're saying, it's completely laid out. Like, all of our food is, if it's supposed to be hot, is, at a specific temperature. It's great. This is Air Force culture. And when I hear, even those deployments, I was always with Army.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, I kind of feel spoiled because it's like, I'd never run into, and I remember like feeling kind of guilty at times, especially when I went to, my first deployment was to Cuba. To Guantanamo Bay, and I was like, man, like this is gonna be wild.
Coconuts and stuff.
Man, oh my God! I'm like, oh, which beach am I gonna go to today? Like it was kind of nuts because I was like, this is supposed to be like really difficult. And don't get me wrong, it had its it's times where things are crazy.
Yeah, they all have their challenges.
Yeah, they had their challenges, but it's like we didn't have to open up a can of anything. Like it was, everything was like laid out there for us.
Well, don't get me wrong, but like we have Qatar, which is like one of, so that's like one of our like cushy deployments. But we on Pasab, we had
I went
Air
to
Force.
PSAP. Yeah, I was there too.
You were at Pasab?
Yep. Yep. Hey.
About to say we had Air Force there too, like so we had a nice DFAC and everything. But yeah, what year were you there?
I went to PSAP 21.
Okay,
20, so they had shut it down, and then my sister was actually there when they were shutting it down.
Yep.
So then when I got there, it was like transitioning from a bare base into more of a built-up base. So a part of my mission was going there and building it back up. So it was interesting during the summer. And I was in CE, so I was an engineer myself in HVAC. So I got exactly what it was. No working in the cool.
Yep.
If it's,
and it got to like 120.
Oh my
like
God,
it was just bad.
It's
like,
dry, and then out of nowhere the sandstorm will pick up.
Yep.
And you got to make sure if you ain't got no goggles or anything like that, just got to jump in the truck.
We have pictures of people like the crazy sandstorms is like all the way to. We have like pictures of people like running like that. And my homeboy, he had his like face wrapped up. He's like this as it's coming. I'm like, let's go, Castadio, we gotta go.
And it's like you could be outside like working out, and out of nowhere like it'll pick up slow, and you're like, oh shit. The vision start getting real low. It's like, oh man, it's happening. And out of nowhere, it's just like I've had to run into like tents where people are like standing, and I'm like, just let me in. Just let me in. At this point, I can't see, and it's getting pretty bad. Like
I can't breathe.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get lost eventually. So it's like we ran into that so much, and it's like I don't think enough. I'm really big on like I think everybody, no matter what branch they decide to get in, should at least do like 2 to 4 years in the military.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't even realize how much of the outside world is way different than America and the privileges that we have here.
Yeah.
Until I went out and was like, oh, okay, this is something that I never had to worry about before. This is something I never had to think about, like using tissue. You know, like I was like, everybody uses tissue. And then I got to PSAP, in fact, and was like, wait, the OCNs are taking bottles of water into the toilet thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are they taking bottles of water? It was like, well, they don't use tissue. They're gonna use that for the ass. And I was like, there's no way that's happening.
On the flip side of that, I know everybody in my year, we got so just like used to that, and I felt like it was so simple, like life was just so simple that like coming back here, I was like, we don't want to go back. Everybody tried to extend. They tried to like gave us everybody volunteered to extend. I'm like, I don't want to go back. I'm like, I don't even know the music back home. I don't know anything going on.
Completely different world.
Yeah. And then it was kind of like our porter shitters, like one of them we had to build like a tri-wall and we used a bucket. But then when we were on Pasab, the Afghans, like our Terps, stayed in the LSAs with us. And then they would, like the shit would be stacked up high out of the toilet because nobody, like, they're only coming like maybe once a week. And then you have like 100 people using it. So you would end up having to use it like an Afghan, like you're getting up there, like,
gotta.
So
we're home. We are in
you're
it.
just like, cause you're, oh my God, this smell. Oh, I thought I was gonna die when I first landed in Afghanistan. I was like, what the f is this? I was like, this,
And that's like a lot of the Middle Eastern bases too. Like as soon as you land there,
ponds, the shit fountains.
Yeah, yep, exactly. As soon as you land, the heat and the
feces in the air,
instantly.
and then
I remember looking at my first sergeant when we landed, because he was sitting like right across from me, and I was like, dude, what is that smell? It was like my first time going to. He was like, you'll get used to it. I was like, there's no way I'm getting used to this.
No,
like,
it was
this is
seeping your
so
pores.
bad. Oh my God, it was so bad. It was like, and instantly, it's like, it just kind of like take your breath away, and on top of the heat with it, I'm like, yo, where are we? Like, this is what hell must smell like. Cause this
yes,
is,
yes,
oh
it's
my
like the
God.
devil's asshole. It's so bad. It was so bad, and it would like seep in your skin. You would smell, and it's like this is no good. Like if you were on the major bases, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, we would just like take shits in bags at Mescal and like throw them away.
Yeah.
Like, but I got deathly ill there. They had like, cause I don't know like if we ran out of like food or what happened, but the Romanians went out, killed the goat, and then like cooked it, and then I was like good friends with all the Romanians because I was only female, and so I was friends with all the females. All the dudes was I got beat up and hogtied because one of the girls that everybody liked, they used our tent, so we all stayed in as squads. So my room, everybody had like sheets hung up between like their bunks, and so everybody used my sheet as the projection screen with the PlayStation. So the whole like half the platoon was in there, and me and her name's Nicolita. Like me and her are friends still on Instagram, and like so we were in my bed, and she was like a massage therapist in Romania, and we were like best friends there. So
Nice.
she was like giving me a massage,
Nice.
and then like we just heard silence, and I looked up, and everybody's eyes were like this. She was like, "I'm uncomfortable." I was like, "Me too. I'll walk you back to your tent." And so like I walked her back, and then when I came back into my tent, I got jumped, and they hog-tied me because someone sent my squad leader like a bunch. They worked at a sex shop, so they sent him a bunch of like sex tape and like ropes and stuff. So they tied me up with it like this, and they dropped me over at the Romanian side. They were like, "Yeah, like go over there with them." and so I broke out, but I just lay there to like wait and see if they would come back. So like my brothers, they're like my brothers Diego and Ant, they came back to untie me, and I was like, I jumped up. I was like, I'm fucking assholes. Like,
see, and, stuff like that can only happen in the Army and the Marines.
Yeah.
Like that, and it's a special part of the Army where that can happen in too. Like,
oh, yeah.
I've met a lot of different like factions in the Army, and from my experience, most of them just do dumb shit. Like it's not even,
you're so bored.
Yeah, but it's like, for instance, like in Cuba, there was a whole all of us was there. It was Navy, Army, Marines, like Air Force. We were all there, right? And so it's like we have, when I say complete freedom, it was almost unfair that this was a deployment. Like that's how it felt to me. Like this cannot be. I'm not even gonna go into details because it was just so bad as a deployment-ish. It was just so many liberties, right? And all of us was there. Is like there's no limit on drinking whatsoever, and there's a whole like what is it called? Oh my God! Now I've been out for a few years. I'm starting to feel it. But it's like a whole like like the mall, like the mall store for
at CAF?
No, this was like you know how like on base they have like the mall, but then it's like also like a food center and everything that's inside of this one space.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it is. If y'all remember, which I'm sure y'all do.
Kind of like a PX, but like...
Yeah, exactly, okay. A PX. And so it stayed completely packed with liquor. Like from, I mean, you if you can think of it, it's there. As soon as you walk in, beer is stacked up and lined up from the front to the back. Then there's a huge fridge. Like it was so unfair of a deployment. Like I walked in and was like, there's more liquor here than it is at my BX back at home, like on base. And it's like, and so what happens is like you always know when the Marines are out because all of it's gone. Like normally when you walk in, the beer is stacked up, going all the way back, right? When the Marines finally get like a day out and you walk into the PX, all of it's gone.
Yeah,
like
and you know some weird shit happened that night.
Oh my God! Like
some weird shit going
or it's about to happen.
Yeah,
it's
like
coming.
Some,
it's coming.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the MOS. Like infantry, definitely drinkers. Engineers, we have our own drinking song that we sing at engineer balls, And our engineer balls, like I have stories for
Y'all have an
fucking
engineer
days.
ball.
I have stories for days just being in the National Guard alone. That's not even being like active duty. But like my unit,
Y'all have an engineer ball? Like
Oh
just
yeah,
for engineers?
just for engineers.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fire.
Yeah, yep. And we have like they do the grog and everything, mix all the alcohol and do all the speeches and stuff. But like one year, because I always used to get awarded. Like I said, like I was pretty big. Like my pictures up on the Joint Force headquarters, like
Fire.
they're doing like a spinning back kick because I was the first professional Muay Thai fight in Massachusetts. So like they hung it up on the wall and everything, so everybody's there. But
Are you originally from Massachusetts?
I'm like my family's from Boston. I grew up half in Boston, then did high school, middle school, high school, actually elementary school too, down like Cape, but I was living in Boston for a little bit with my aunts and stuff because I still wanted to go to school up there with my cousins.
For sure.
And I got into a fight with some dude. and I was on crutches. And so my mom was like, no, you're coming like the Fresh Prince. Like she made me
back
move.
over to Bel Air.
Yeah. She made me move like down to the Cape, which is like culturally very different from like where I was in like Randolph was more Hispanic and like black kids, and then when we went down to the Cape was
None of that.
just all white people. So, but not even like blue collar white people, it was like white collar white people. And I'm like, okay. I was like, Mom.
So did you have like a big adjustment? I'm assuming you did. Like between the
Yeah,
two.
everybody that was not white and like all the kind of like trailer, because we had like the trailer kids.
Mhm.
And so like basically those kids were cool. We grew up with them, the black kids, and then like we didn't like, and it's not because we didn't want to associate with them. They didn't want to associate
Oh yeah, it
with
was
us.
like, no,
So
we're good.
yeah, so we're just like, all right, whatever. We have more fun anyway. Like,
And what, you say it was the black kids that didn't want to
no,
associate?
the white kids didn't
wanna
want to like
associate.
anything but do with us, like with really like kind of the trailer trash kids or like the ethnic kids. So we all just stuck
Like, fuck
together and kind of just grew up through elementary, middle school, and high school together.
Nice.
So
And so, like, during that time, were you already fighting, or was it where you train? Like,
yeah,
like
I started
already...
training when I was 4. Like my mom got me into Taekwondo or karate when I was 4. It was one of those. And then I went into either Taekwondo or karate. So it was like back to back with those. And then I'm pretty sure I took a break because I started playing softball like full time throughout elementary, middle school, high school. I went to college and played softball for a little bit until I dislocated my shoulder. And so I subluxed it during soccer because like I went to, it's a small maritime academy. So they were like, oh, we need another person for the soccer team. And I had played soccer when I was like maybe 6. So I was like, okay, like I'm athletic, I can run, like, okay, how hard can it be? And then so some chick like slid tackled me and I was like, whoop, and I landed on my shoulder, like popped in and out. So like that hurt for a little while, but whatever. And then softball came, and a lot of the girls that went to Mass Maritime that was on the softball team, we were all on like travel league together and like high school. So our team, like we were actually like champions in our like town. Like we had like, I don't know, it was like a travel softball team, but it was a league. So it would be during school and then summer league. And then we have like fall like practice and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we were champions. So we were all really good, but the team together as a whole sucked. And like, so like, we were just bad news bears. Our coach, like, I remember my freshman year, our captains were a little chunky, and like, so our coach was like, all right, go run like down. So we had the Cape Cod Canal, but instead of running on the canal, we ran on the main street. And so we ran to this ice cream shop, And then everybody stopped to the ice cream shop and ate ice cream. And then we ran back, and then coach was like, all right, yeah, you guys get a good workout. Everybody's like, yeah. Like, all eating ice cream and shit.
Like, we killed it.
Yeah,
that is funny.
Yeah, and we just sucked. But like, it was just one practice. I like whipped the ball and my shoulder went like this and it, like dropped. And so like my arm was sitting like this out here. It was down here. And so I couldn't, they were trying to like splint my arm up like that, but the way that it was rotated, I couldn't.
Yeah,
so
just like, yeah, nah.
I was like this. And then when they brought me to the ER, they took me to the worst ER possible. It's like hood ER. And like they were wheeling around old people, like nothing against old people, but I was sitting there for 6 hours and my coach was like, dude, they're on oxygen. They're about to die. Like this girl has been sitting here for 6 hours. Like, and I'm like with no medicine, nothing. They didn't do nothing. And I was like, like that. Oh my God. That was the worst. And the EMT was trying to hit on me after they sedated me but I remember him because the nurse was like, she's not going to remember you. I just remember that.
It's like, funny because like, since I met you, like I would have never, so what was, let me back up because like for you, it sounds like your childhood was, you didn't come from like a bunch of money. You pretty humble beginnings.
Yeah. My mom was full-time. She was active duty,
nice.
Coast Guard.
Fire.
So I grew up on bases and everything.
That's so interesting because I rarely came across Coast Guard, but I have an aunt who works with the Coast Guard too. But no, that's fire, which is a whole different thing. Do you think your mom influenced you to go into the military?
No, actually, funny. I never wanted to go into the military. Just growing up on bases and everything like that, I was like really like rebellious child. And I remember in 5th grade, I was 11. Was 2001. So September 11th happened. And so I remember that, went home and like the planes were hijacked from Logan. Like, bitch, no, there was no, like, I'm not even going to go in. Don't even get me started on the conspiracies. I will go in. But there was no fucking hijacking. Anyway, we all know who the big blue fucking country. Guess whose engineers were in the Twin Towers a few weeks before 9/11. And watch it slowly, how it looks like all a controlled demolition. And Building 7 got hit. So anyway, I digress. But like, so I went home and my mom was watching. The base is like shut down, and we had the jets at that on the base. I was living on the Joint Base Cape Cod. So we had the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard. So they scrambled the jets and that were supposedly tracking them. The planes heading to New York. And so my mom is like watching it. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to be in this war. But like my family, the females, we all get like visions and like stuff like that. So I was like, Mom, I'm going to be in this war. She was like, was like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
at that time, it's like
she wasn't even thinking about that. Like that's such a random thing for an 11-year-old to say.
Wow.
And then I was. So I just, I knew I was going to be. So pretty much my whole life from there until I went into the Army was to train to deploy because I knew I was going to deploy. So I joined the Civil Air Patrol, and then I was from 11 to I was a late teen. I think I was 17 when I graduated high school and went to college when I was 17. So I think that's when I stopped being in the Civil Air Patrol. But it was from 11 to 17 I was in there because my uncle was a Fulbright colonel. He worked at the Pentagon and Intel on the same base because there's an Intel wing on Joint Base Cape Cod, but like the Air Force is bougie, so you can't go over. You can't go over there. You can't go over to the Air Force side, but they can come over to everybody else's side. I'm like, whatever. But yeah.
That's funny.
So
even from 4 to 17, were you still like training and fighting as well? Like as far as like preparing to
Yeah, and I think it was partially that, and partially that, like, I met my coach, Loco Lobo. I think I was maybe 16. And so I started like doing jujitsu, and then my best friend, Kylie, she's O'Hearn, she's like my baby sister, but I met her when I was 12, or she was 12 and I was 16. And we all just kind of grew up together. Like our parents are friends. I'm friends with her parents. I'd walk into her house and stuff and eat their food, like all that type stuff. But we all grew. And then like same thing with Loco. I could walk into his house and we used to take shots and listen to like heavy metal, like old 60s heavy metal, and do pads. He's like, let's take shots. He was like, that's good training right there.
Old school.
Yeah, on Sundays. So we used to do that Sunday mornings. and so like, and then with Crew Mark Della Garati, he's one of the best crews in the U.S. With, you know, Muay Thai and everything. He was in Here Comes the Boom. He was the one with the fedora, the Italian dude with the glasses, with the Kevin James movie. But yeah, I grew up with him. And so I just kept going until I deployed. And then after deployment, I was a little psychopath. And so we were like, and all of us were like crazy. We were crazy. And so they gave us, I don't know, like 180 days off. And then when we got back to the unit, we were winding down and everything. We would have to like cover for so many people. Everybody started showing up for formation, like dark shades, like don't look at me and stuff. People were like arrested. So we would have to like, and by that time my platoon sergeant was the first sergeant. So she already was like used to our shit, but plus there was like new soldiers. So we would get away with a lot more stuff. And like, I was a team leader by then. So I went from an E1 to an E5 in 3 years.
Ooh.
And so I was like...
Fast track,
yeah,
for real.
Yeah. So by that time, I was a team leader. I remember one of my homeboys that we were out partying with, he got arrested. So I like had sent another one of my guys out to try to bail him out because it was a Monday. Like he got arrested on Sunday. So it was Monday. And I'm like, I'm trying to cover for him in formation. And then my first sergeant was like an hour later. She's like, where is he? I'm like...
Yeah.
Like,
so how do I explain this?
Like, he's like, you just keep making excuses, and like she's just like, whatever, I know. Like I know.
Yeah, she gets the phone call.
Yeah.
She was probably like, I just want to see what they're going to say. At some point, it's just like, I just want to see how this goes. How this
the excuses just get worse and
right,
worse,
exactly.
like more elaborate. Like, what are we talking about? Like, he got ran over by a moose, so he's in the hospital. He'll be getting out in a few hours. Like,
that's one thing that I do miss about the military, though. Like, and that's kind of like the reason that I came here, because like the camaraderie that you have in the military. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like it's some stuff where it's like it happened. Only a few of us know it happened. And only us will ever know that it happened. Like, and that's literally how we'll go to the grave. Then you meet that person, you're just like, hey, bro, you remember that? And it was like, yes, yes, I remember. And it's like that type of camaraderie. Like you can't fabricate it. Like it has to be real. Like it's something that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember back in the day when I first got home, like I would see other vets and I just would know that they're veterans just by like how like their aura, but we could just shoot this shit like we had known each other for years. I'm like, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I miss the military. It gave me so many opportunities, everything. I became a rappel master. So I was jumping out of helicopters and we do the rappel towers. We were like the pre-air assault instructors, so we put everybody through like hell, like 0 day. And air assault I did air assault back when it was hardcore, because when I went to active duty, I was stationed at Fort Polk with 3rd Brigade, 10th Mountain Division, 310 BB. It's a brigade engineer battalion infantry combat team. So we were with them and they were hosting air assault. And I was in charge of like getting, because I was the schools, battalion schools NCO. And so I was kind of putting packets together for everybody going through air assault, because I was a rappel master and I was you know,
like, I do this.
Like, so I already knew like what they had to do. I went out there for 0 day. I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this soft as? This is soft as baby shit. I was like, what is this? I was like, you guys should not even be allowed to wear this badge. Like, what are you doing? Like, when I had 0 day, we woke up, we had to be out in the field at, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was in this like bowl. And so everybody, and it was so specific because as rappel master and stuff, when you do sling loading with like the apex, say if you have an inverted castellated nut, the whole load could drop off the apex, drop off the helicopter. So it's like very, very fine attention to details is like the first step in air assault. So we had to bring our wet weather bag, a pair of running shoes, and something else. Oh, and our PT belt. And white socks. And if you have black socks, bye, you're out of the course. Like,
yep.
Like if you're
Everything
missing
was
anything,
super strict.
yes, bye.
And it's not calling back to your base and going like, hey, I forgot this.
Yeah,
you
no,
gotta
bye.
sit in. It was like none
That's
of
why
that.
it's
They
called
just send you
0
right
day
back.
because you haven't even made it into the course yet.
Yep.
And so like we're standing out there. They had to stand out there for it was probably like an hour and a half because the sun hadn't started coming up just yet. But like we had seen all these cars up on the bowl, like all the headlights. We were like, oh shit, it's about to happen. And then they all drove away, and we were like, oh no, and then they stayed gone. I'm like, I'm like, oh god. So we're standing there like for what seemed like forever, and we seen them pull back up, but it was like their headlights were off, but you can still tell that there's cars rolling up, and so like. All of a sudden, all these cadre came sprinting down the hill like this, like from everywhere, like, get on your faces, blah, blah, blah. And it was raining, and then like, everybody's fucking cold, and we're like, they're smoking the shit out of us, the dog shit out of us. I couldn't run. I didn't think I was gonna make it through the smoking. And then they were like, you have fucking 10 seconds to put on your shoes. And so we had to make it through a 2-mile run in under 18 minutes, which seems really slow, but after you're smoked, like everybody was like like that. So me and my boy made it. We were together, and then from there you have to make it through the obstacle course like perfectly. If you make any mistakes, you have one redo, and then you have like one option to skip an obstacle. And so the first one's the big boy. You have to climb the rope, balance on the beam, climb the A-frame, go down, and then they have like the worm. It's a big obstacle course. So you have to make it through that. And then I forget if you have to do the layout, but I remember the last day. I know, so everything you have tasks every few days that you can get kicked out for. And the biggest one is like the sling load. We do a bunch of rappels, but like the sling loading, so you have to memorize each helicopter, what each helicopter's capacity is, how much fuel, if this apex goes to this, like is everything tied down, and you have only a few seconds to go through the entire load, and they don't tell you how many deficiencies there are on it. You just have to, that there's no more than 4. But you have to just point it out, deficiency. But I was the only one who got every single load, all 4 loads. Like,
so is this like a load master school?
So this is within air assault, and then after air assault, you can go to rappel master, which in rappel master they're teaching you more like in-depth sling loading. Then you get into like sling load ops, like for real. So,
fire. So it sounds like there's a few people, and I love for you to meet my neighbor. He's a Marine, old school Marine.
I love Marines.
Fast track. Like one of the things that he always tell me was like, when I got in, I ate it up. Like I took in, like I became like the Marine that people will like look at and go, that's the Marine. He was like, that's who I wanted to be.
Yep.
And I completely ate it up. It sounds like that's kind of like your story too. Like once you got into the Army, like, and you saw what it was that you wanted, you completely ate it up and really, really took it in.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I completely loved it. And I loved being enlisted. Like it's funny. I've been every rank twice. Like, so I've been demoted.
Yeah, that sounds like every Army person.
And I made it all the way up to E6 twice. So
fire.
Like that's pretty good. But like I said, like the engineer balls, for example, we had a few nights where we had to put some people in my bathtub and have the medics come up. Everybody's drunk. And we're trying to IV, like drunkenly IV somebody in the bathtub. The next morning you like wake up and there's blood splatter everywhere. You're like, what? Oh yeah, like we got messed up. But like all of the engineer balls that I've been to are like that. And so when I got to be an NCO, I was still very, very young. And I was still pretty much younger than everybody else. But as I got older, the younger kids could still relate to me. I'm like, listen, you can't lie to me. I'm like, because I've done everything. I was like, I've cussed everybody out. I've fought my superiors, like fist fought them. I'm like, you can't tell me like no lies. I was like, if I find out you're lying, I'm fucking you up. I'm like, and I was this NCO that everybody would send their like people to. I was low dragging people. I'm like skull drag. I'm like, and my unit, like we were almost never inside. We were always in the field, like doing bivouacs, like overnight stuff in the field.
Always at it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and it's funny because when I met you, like your personality is like extremely contagious. That's actually one of the things that when I hit you up, I was like, your personality is so contagious. Like, it reminds me of like people that I've met in the field, and it's like when it's time to like get it in, switch. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hey, when we're having fun, have a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. When it's time to get it in, when it's time to work, hey, we'll get back to the fun later. We gotta knock this out. But it's only very few that can actually do that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, when it comes to knocking this out, I'm also the best at getting through this shit. You know what I mean? Right. Like, it's not many that can do it. So do you think you apply that same thing to like your fighting? Like when you have training or when you have matches, like that same tenacity that you have for when you're knocking out the work in the military? Like,
oh yeah. I feel like when I do anything I'm passionate about, I do it like to the best and fullest of my ability.
For sure.
You know, I just go, yeah, full send, like, like full fuck it. Like if you're doing it, you might as well do it all the way. There's no point in half-assing anything, you know. So, and I've just been through like a lot that like fighting helped me through coming home, because like I said, I was psycho. We were getting in trouble. And then my mom called local. She was like, you need to get her, like, like, you know. And so that's when I became like an amateur MMA fighter. But MMA, I was going through chicks. Like, I had 3 titles, like one in New York, Boston, stuff, you know, WKA titles and stuff. So I had, you know, a lot of like raw in me, and then like piss and vinegar, and just basically full send and everything. So that did me good, because I got Invicta, was my first pro fight. So that was off of 5 weeks, and I was 30 pounds heavy. So I dropped the 30 pounds and fought in Vegas for my first fight with Invicta. I thought I won, but I think I lost by a split decision. Then went to Bellator. I won the Bellator fight. Went to LFA. I got stopped in that one. She cut me right here, but I fought Haley Cowan. If you guys have seen her, she's massive. So she had to come down to 135, and I was a 115er, and I went up to 135. But this was because it was Dana White's looking for a fighter or whatever. And so... And if you see the weigh-in pictures, like she's like looking like just this at me, sorry. And I'm like, I'm like just like whatever. But I made it to like the second round and everything, and she got my, I don't know, she hit me with the elbow, split me open, and got my back. And I think she choked me out. Like I went out. But then Dana was like, you should be fighting at 115. I was like, I do. Like we whatever. We're not even going to
So
talk about it.
We just had it. We had it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, basically, that's still where, And then we went to Cage Titans. I won there. That was the first female pro fight Cage Titans had. So won there. And then I started getting like bored back at home with just like, because I was full-time National Guard. So I was like, all right, I want to go active duty. And so I got Fort Polk, and that's where I met my ex. And this is where everything went like left. So I was doing good with fighting everything, and so she was into gangbanging, like, I'm not gonna shout it, but like, she was in there. Yeah, she was in there. So that carried on in like Louisiana with like the people that we were around and everything. So I kind of fell into like I was just really cool with like the bikers and like the gangbangers and stuff. So they knew me, got in trouble with like the little federal like CID bill. So it got iffy for a while. But all that got, resolved. Then I moved to Florida, but I was still, and we got into like narcotics and everything. So my life was just going like, so I started boxing. Interested. That's how I started boxing, because you make money, win or lose. Yep. So that's like, so I started fighting for narcotics and rent and food and all that stuff to get by. So like my life was just like the devil got me wrapped up right there. And so it like kind of took me, I think we were together for like 3 years. And so I left because I was like, nope, can't do this. I left to Boston. They followed me, and then
right there, like where you were like, nah, I can't do this. One thing again that I know about a lot of Army cats is, again, when they're in it, a lot of them aren't thinking about the other side of it. It's, I'm in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was it that made you look and say like, nah, I'm good?
It was a situation, like, this chick had, like, people over the house, like, cheating and everything, like, and I was like, listen, I'm either gonna murder someone or I'm leaving. Like, that was the point where I was actually done, because I was like, all right, so is she worth homicide? Like, I'm like, it's not worth it. So I was just like, I'm good. I'm good. And so, like, when they followed me up there, like, again, like I'm in touch, who are the father and stuff. So I always get visions, like, and like real clear ones too. Like, I don't even know what to say, but like when Donald Trump, the day before Donald Trump got like shot, she did not get shot, but like, so I had like a random vision where I was, me and my mom always tell each other because they kind of really stand out. Mm-hmm. I was like, Mom, I seen something that like Donald got shot, and the next day he did. I was like, I had nothing to do with that shit. I was like, I just seen it. I was like, what? So like I said, that's with the war thing. Like, so I just have, I know when it's like something to pay attention to. So, and so when we were in Boston, we were staying with my mom for a little bit, and I just had another vision of me, like, because I was already signed with BKFC at that time, the bare knuckle league. And I just had like a vision. It was like me on a poster and one of the girls on the poster. And who was like, you can either have this or you can have like this, like over here. He was like, but you can't have both. And so I was like, all right. So I'm like, so me being, kind of like, what do the kids do? Like, okay, I'm gonna listen, but I'm gonna still try to have it my way. And so I was like, all right, let's move back down to Louisiana, back to Leesville, to where we were. And so we got an apartment. And so I have my disability, so I don't really have to Well, now I don't have to work, like, you know, like to like. But back then, when I had that leech on me, like I definitely still had to work, like, because they weren't. And so like, so now I'm big chilling, but
get you a better.
Yeah. But I contacted Jeremy and I was like, hey, I want to do my camp for the next BKFC fight. And that was a big BKFC fight because I was the featured bout. It was at Mohegan Sun, so it was thousands of people. It was on pay-per-view and everything. I was like, Jerry, I want to, and me and Jeremy have known each other for years, like years. Because him and Milo, yes. And because I knew Tanya and Stephanie and my coach, Loco, and Jeremy became cool, like at Invicta and stuff. But yeah, I was like, can I do the camp here, keep cornering me? He was like, absolutely. Like, we'll, you know, work out a living situation for your camp. So he set me up and we had a nice camp, everything. And I was just explaining to him the situation with my ex. And he was like, oh, no. He was like, you have to get a divorce. So I was like, I just had to pray on it and everything because I knew it was like the right thing to do. But I called her. I was like, listen, I'm not coming home. So I was like, yeah, you got like 30 days to like get out my apartment because everything, you know, is in my name, car, like everything, like, you know. So I just got 30 days to leave. Of course, she like gave away my dogs, like trash, like threw away my shit, like all that. Poured sand in my Lexus, one that I bought for her in cash. But it's okay. All of that worked out. He'll always turn like people's foolishness into your blessings. So don't even worry about it. I'm like, no weapons formed against me shall prosper. So I ended up selling it. It went to my little homie, and then I got, you know, nice money off of it. I got my Jeep now. So basically I moved out here homeless with nothing. So, and everybody here at War like really took care of me. Jerry gave me the job like coaching the kids because I was just a hot mess. I was a hot mess. So I started teaching the kids, you know, and I love kids. So obviously like they're like my dogs, like, you know, you got to act right. And so I was praying, like, you know, says he's close to the brokenhearted. And I was crying over my dogs. Like, so one day I found DeBarcus and I was going to Lone Star. So I went past the school to a gas station I never go to and like to get gas before class. And he was outside just small and he was like trying to greet people. So it was like he knew, like he was supposed to get picked up that day. So like everybody came up, like he came up to him like, hello, are you my human? And then, like they would ignore him. So I felt bad. So I like bought him a beef stick and like I gave it to him. He like grabbed it and tossed it and he like sprinted over and jumped in the back of the car. And so me and Rain were living together at the time. And I was like, Rain, so I FaceTimed her. I was like, girl, I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, oh my God. She was like, well, you can't just leave him. I'm like, what do I do? And I was like, all right, I'll let you know. And so I hung up. I was like, Jeremy, I was like, where are you? He was like, I'm at the gym. I'm like, all right, I'm skipping class today. I was like, I found like what I think is a coyote because he was so small and like kind of skinny. But I mean, he looks like a coyote now, but when I found him, he was probably like under a year old because his teeth were really white. His necks didn't really drop yet. So I know he was young.
He was still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Finding his way.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh God. So we brought him in here and then let him run around. And then within like the first hour, he built like a nest, like a burrow, a den over here. And then brought a carcass in and presented to Jeremy, and Jeremy was like, yes. Yeah, he was like,
yeah, respect.
He was like, you can keep him. He was like, Gym Dog. I'm like, oh,
for sure. And like, man, like it must have been just like you were saying. It must have been like perfect time because it sounds like that was around the same time you were like finding your footing and kind of rebuilding. And he was just like, you are my person. Yeah, like you're the perfect place for me to be because I need somewhere or someone that can help me figure out who I am. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like slid right in.
Yep, exactly. And this was the same thing with Rain, because me and Rain didn't know each other before we like moved in, but we were both going through toxic breakups.
Yep.
And so Jeremy was like,
he just paired it together.
Yeah, he was like, you're going through a toxic breakup.
Oh
You're going
God.
through a toxic breakup. He was like, why don't you guys move in together? We were like, all right, like, let's go. But we became like real good friends. Like, that's my sis, everything. So
I want to pause for a second because that's probably one of the most Marine things I've heard in such a long time. Oh my God, that's
like,
hilarious.
that's very NCO.
It's like, here's a lady who's going through a rough patch, and here's a lady that's going through a rough patch. Y'all should live together. Figure it out together. That's funny. That's so Marine.
Yep.
But it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
We had
And
fun times, and like she would give me rides everywhere and stuff. Because
fire.
yeah, like the car shit the bed, and then Jeremy ended up buying it and fixing it up,
Nice.
like, and everything. So he really took care of me with that.
And that's also a Marine thing.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that I really appreciate, I know this is probably one of the few conversations I get to have with a veteran who gets it, right? So I'll probably throw out more military stuff. But like one thing that I can say about actually majority of my dad is a Marine, and a majority of the Marines that I've come across, they really, when they care about somebody, they really care about people.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's no doubt. Even if y'all have to fight or fuss or whatever it is,
Yep.
they can do that. But nobody else better have an input on it. Better have like instantly, like they're really with you.
Right.
And that's one thing that I really appreciated about the Marines.
Mhm.
And it sounds like, do you feel like y'all service connection together kind of help build the trust?
Yeah. Because like I said, like you know, going through like combat stuff, that like what it is. That's why I used to get like demoted a lot, because I'm like, you're not talking to my soldiers like that. Like, and when I got married, my ex would be like, oh, you got demoted, like blah blah blah. I was like, listen, in combat, guess who's not going with you? The first sergeant, the fucking like commander. Guess what? They're not the ones shooting for you. Your privates are, like your specialists are. They're the ones that are going to take care of you.
Yep.
I was like, and once you go through that and know like other people that went through that, so it's more like, you know, you can trust each other, and it's like, well, I know you're a ride or die, I'm a ride or die, so it's kind of
For sure. And it's like, especially when you in that same area, especially when you deploy, you have your full experience, then you come back, and it's people that's never deployed, people that barely ever want to take a task, or they're on the fucking fat camp. Like,
yeah,
those are the ones just trying to, because I'm your superior, then you're gonna XYZ. Those are the ones I bump heads with the most, because I'm like, dude, our job is to deploy.
right.
You know what I mean? I got a family at home. I got shit I'd rather be doing, but I never said no. And I
Right.
took the trips, no matter what they had. I didn't know what was on the other side of it. I just went.
Right.
And so to come back and now you're trying to tell me, oh, you da 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 da. I'm like, yo, first of all, that's simple. Second, bro, what the fuck have you been doing the whole time? You've had enough time to sit here and literally just nitpick at nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And now I come back and you got a problem with everything. Like,
Right.
no, and
like,
no, I'm not
shut
gonna be
up.
quiet about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be quiet. Like, so yeah. I ran into a lot of problems with my superiors as well.
Right. I'm like, if you can't do me and be me, shut up.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm doing your job for you because you're obviously not fucking doing it. So
right.
I ran into that.
Like
a lot.
my favorite instances like of that is when we used to run the rappel tower, and we would have like brigades go through different brigades and everything, and then you would have like the high speed lieutenants that might have done a rappel or two like once or twice before, like the old colonels and stuff. And I'm over here as the rappel master. I'm like, all right, listen to me. Like, you're taking all commands from me. And I would be screaming, knife handing, like colonels and stuff. I'm like, I was like, I ain't fucking tell you to go. And like people would be standing on the ground like that. And I'm like, but I do not care who you are. Guess what? Who's the rappel master here? Who's gonna throw you out the helicopter tomorrow? I'm like, because if you don't get it right on the tower, you're not going on the helicopter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so like with the lieutenants and stuff like that, the younger ones, because like the older colonels, I wasn't gonna like nothing like possum and like smack themselves because I'm like, well, you're gonna break a hip, you're gonna be like, but with like the lieutenants, if they weren't listening and I'm like, they're just doing their own thing, I'm like, okay, like keep going. They'd be possum, like their feet upside down, still stuck on the tower, and they're like help. I'm like,
figure it out.
Yeah,
Figure it the fuck out.
Nope. Yep. Especially when they're just trying to do a regular rappel. I'm like, you're not even doing the lock-in yet. And like the lock-in is like this is a regular rappel, lock-in, you stop, you take the rope like this around, and then you hold it, you separate and go like this, and then you go down sideways. So you do that one. I'm like, we can't do the regular one, definitely can't do this one. And then you definitely can't do like, we showed them the slack jumps where you like slack out the line and then you just jump and you're like, and then catch and then you go. And then my favorite was the Aussie, which you go upside down. And well, there's two different Aussies, like, so you can go like this, like James Bond, and that's without hooking the foot. But I was never good at that one because I would always end up like this, like going down like that. Like it didn't look good. But we had the Aussie where you hook the foot and it took like some coordination, but you go off forwards, you go and you hold it right here, and then you balance and you just start leaning forward and you just looking at the horizon as you drop off. You lean to the side and hook your foot.
So you're low-key a daredevil too. Like
I love
adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
Adrenaline junkie.
Yep.
Nice.
I used to do the spy stuff because I was training to be a spies master.
Fire.
That's like you guys see Black Hawk Down when they rope in without any protective gear, really. They slide down the rope and stuff. So we did it at Gillette Stadium because they bought like a bunch of houses around. We did it with the FBI. So it was me and a few of my other spies masters that were like teaching. So we did it with the state. Yeah, the FBI was there and the state police SWAT team was the people that we normally do the spies with, like on a normal basis. But FBI was also there, so they were coordinating like efforts, and they had the battering rams and the robots and shit. And then we were the ones dropping in, and it was a lot of fun. Like we used to do a lot of fun stuff like that. So
what about now? Now where? I guess it's kind of like two parts. So it's like, where are you now? Like as far as like mentally with your I know like getting out of the military was like huge for me.
Yeah.
And it's only been a couple years now. I just got out in 24. You know what I mean? So it's like when I first got out with my family, I'm like, what's next? You know what I mean? And I was telling my neighbor, I got blessed to have him in my corner, like living right next to me, because I was like, bro, I feel like I'm about to just deploy. Like I feel like something's about to come up and I'm going to be just like sitting on somewhere. Like that's what it felt like, right? He was like, dude, like you're going to have to like
chill out.
Yeah, like chill. And I was like, bro, I don't even know how. Like, like I'm on like literally right before I got out, I just got home from a deployment.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, you got like 60 days to get
transition and everything
and be out.
They be doing us so wrong.
Oh my God.
So
I was
wrong.
like in a different it was so messy, right? But once I finally got out, I was just like, I don't really know what to do. VA hadn't come through yet. I didn't do like the job stuff because again, it was right after deployment. I'm straight out, but I also have been working on like starting businesses and stuff like that. So I was like, how the fuck am I going to do this with my family? And it was a lot, like mentally, you know what I mean? So I can only imagine. And this is without somebody who like, I didn't go through combat, you know what I mean? As somebody who went through combat, coming out of that, and how long were you in?
I was in for 12 years.
Yeah, so you were in for half of, I did 6 years. So you did double what I did. Yeah. So like that, I know that's a life outside. That's a whole world outside of this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like once you got out and now you're at this point, like where are you? I know it can take on a lot mentally. Where are you mentally? Where are you like, and what's next?
Well, right now I feel mentally, finally, I'm like at peace. That's why I'm just like, that was my one thing that I like really prayed for. I'm like, I just want peace.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, like peace. Because really my life since deployment has been a cross between Jackass and The Hangover. Like literally if we filmed our like adventures, like I could probably be a millionaire right now. Like for instance, even like coming home from deployment, we came home July 4th. We got bombed and everything on the way to the plane to get out of Afghanistan. We were like, fuck it. Like running and everything, like fireworks and like bombs coming in. But like a week after we got back, me and 4 of my boys went to Puerto Rico, and I bought 4 of my girls tickets. So we had 2 hotel rooms. It was 8 of us, and it was a week of the first night. I ended up in someone's backyard, cuddled up with a homeless man, and I lost the group, and like the homeless dude woke me up to ask if he could lay there with me. I was like, yeah. And like, so he was in front, and then we were like this. And so the cops chased him away, and then they woke me up. They were like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just taking a nap. And they left me. They didn't give a fuck. And so the next people that came, it was like, I heard Bobby and Try. They were like, Sarah. And then I sat up. I was like, I'm over here. And then I laid back down, and then Try grabbed me by my shirt and slapped me across the face. He was like, baby, are you okay? I was like, yeah, let's go. And so me, him, and Bobby, we ended up trying to get to this little island off the coast of Puerto Rico for some reason. And by this time, it's like probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So we ended up going to this like small port. We can't get on the ferries because it's not daytime yet or anything. And so we're chilling. And so when the sun comes up, we're like, and so we're still like going and everything. The sun comes up when we're at this small airport, and we're trying to get on one of those Cessnas, like the 4-seaters. And like the farmer was like, oh, I'm going that way. And I don't remember how we got to the island. I don't know if we ended up taking the ferry or we got on the plane, but I can't remember. But we were drinking the whole time, and this started back on the mainland in Boston because like we were drinking at my homegirl's house and kept going to my mom's house, and then we were drinking on the plane, and we had the whole plane turned up. Like we were like buying shots and everything. And then when we got to our hotel, we had gone straight to the liquor store. We had a blue swimming pool because that's when Kendrick Lamar's song with the swimming pool. Liquor. So we got the little blue pool full of liquor, and then we were doing that. And so then we went to Senor Frog, and Bobby, he has a problem with jumping in the back of people's vehicles. So he got roofied one time over here and jumped in the back of someone's vehicle. It was a mess. And then so in Puerto Rico, he jumped in the back of some random people's vehicles. So he got kidnapped. We got kicked out the club. It was like raining. And then that's when I ended up in someone's backyard. So we all got kind of spread out and ended up on an island. And then that was like the first 48 hours in Puerto Rico. And then it just progressively got worse. So it's like my life has just been like, and then all the stuff in Louisiana, like, so my life has just been like insane. And I'm just like, I'm sleepy. Like, I'm
and you
tired.
made it on the other side. Now you really are. That like, E9, that's just... Okay.
I was telling someone that I was like, all I want is my rocking chair and marijuana.
Yep,
I was like, and my dogs and nature, because like that's what I used to do beforehand anyway. Like in Boston, because Boston has a lot of mountains, I would literally go with my homeboys. We would make fires out of like the flint and like do like survivalist stuff and just hang out in the mountains with weed and beer, like catch frogs and eat them and like just stuff like that. So I'm like, I think that's fun. And then I got the dogs, and so,
just be chilling.
Yeah, and they're super athletic. Like she already swims, he swims. So I'm like, this is all. I just mentally, I'm chilling right now. I'm like, everybody leave me alone. Like I want no negative energy. Like I'm very careful about who I talk to or like I'm friends with. Like I'm like, don't mind me if if I'm standoffish because I can't hide my emotions on my face. My mom always told me that. She was like, you can't hide it. I'm like, if I don't care, that you can probably tell that I don't care. I'm like...
For sure. And I feel like if somebody pissed you off, they must have really tried. Like and if they didn't try, they just a horrible person to start off with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like, for me, I don't get the vibe like you just easily look at people and just get pissed off. Unless you're having like a horrible day. But I feel like even then you're probably just like, I'll just do
I'm
my
always
own
very
thing.
cordial, but I'm like, you're not somebody I would like hang out with. I'm like, there's very few people I would hang out with, like, or,
For sure.
like,
For sure.
not that I don't like, because I'm very extroverted, but with like people that I can feel extroverted with, like
For
they
sure.
have the same aura or energy. They're like a safe space.
For sure.
Then I can be like, like, but other than that, I'm just like,
So,
nah, yeah,
you good.
yeah. Like,
Well, that's all I got for you.
All right, hell
But
yeah.
I have one other thing. At the end, I normally do gifts. I try to find some gift that, brings value to the conversation. I also try to
Okay.
kind of predict how the conversation is going to go. And right now I'm 2 for 2. And I think this one may be my 3 for 3. Okay.
okay.
So I brought one for you and one for, I didn't get her name.
That's Kira.
Kira. Okay. So for you, I brought my patch from, I think this is that's not my PSAP patch. That was my, actually that was Gitmo. That was my Gitmo patch.
I'm gonna stick it back up.
There we go. And I didn't want to demote DeBarkis. So I brought this for Kira. So she could be
yay,
E5.
she good. I'm putting it on hers. Thank you.
I came out as an E5, so I was like, I think they'll really enjoy this. So now DeBarkis is leading the way as an engineer.
Thank you so much. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Wichita Falls.
Okay.
Yep.
I went to go for it. The Mississippi. I think we had Air Force there too.
Oh, yeah,
We had
yeah.
Air Force, Navy, and Army.
We trained. We did a bunch of different, like location wise.
Yeah.
Like once we got into like our fields, like we did a bunch of different training. But Miles was constantly at Wichita Falls, and then we'll go do trainings with like carrier train. We'll go out to the actual companies and do some training too. So
Did you like it there?
it was interesting. It was interesting. It was definitely. It was better than military training. Absolutely better than military training. Only in the sense of like when it comes to learning, you're really going to know like your shit.
Right.
Military,
So they have like the civilians and stuff.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Military is more so. Sometimes it can be the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
And so it can be like you never know who you're going to get unless even once you go into like specialized training, like your trainings were. It's more of you got to know this in order to not die.
Right.
Our stuff was more so you got to know this, but you're going to figure it out in the field anyway. So we're going to give you the need to know and just make sure you understand how to listen.
Right.
And then you'll learn the rest of the field.
Right.
So, but once you go to like these companies, they know their shit. So it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, Go For It was, well, it was cool for everybody else. But like we weren't allowed off the base. And we had like 2 hours of free time, on the weekend. But other than that, and then we weren't allowed to have our cell phones. So we had formations where the cadre would like wand us down. And like, so I would have to hide my the Rice Krispies treats because we weren't allowed to have treats either, but they had the metal like the foil.
The wrapping.
And then so it would go off and we would get smoked. And they had us outside like at night during like a thunderstorm. And like the Air Force and Navy were walking in the barracks like this, and we were doing like low crawls outside and stuff. There we go.
It never ceased to amaze me how often I see the Army get smoked. Like it was almost like if they're not getting smoked, this must be like a day in the Matrix or something. Like like literally, it was like
you're getting like nervous. Like
it must be
happen.
us. Something's gonna happen to us. Like literally, it was never a day ever. If it's not the whole like platoon, then it's like a few people or just a certain amount of groups. Like it never failed. It never, not a day. In no place I went where there was also the Army, where that wasn't the case.
Funny shit.
I was like, oh my God. So then I finally get to meet up with the guys and they're just like, I was like, yo, what happened? And it's always the dumbest shit.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God.
Like there was a Rice Krispie.
Yes,
You had a Rice Krispie.
It was like, I had to. Look at this. I was like, oh my God.
And we had like, some people had like trash in their rooms. They were dumping trash on our pillows and everything.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, we're not even in basic anymore.
And they're just like, we don't care.
Yeah.
It's every day.
Basic was, oh my God. Like, we used to get, because I went when we could still get punched. Like, they could still punch us. Like,
we're going to have to get together and oh my God. I got to bring my neighbor's name is Jester. I call him, his call sign was Juggy. So I call him Juggy because he was the juggernaut.
I like that.
Literally. I'm going to have to get y'all two together. We'll chill out. Your stories and his stories would make some of the greatest content. Oh,
hell yeah.
That'd
be a funny
God.
podcast.
Absolutely. I love for us to sit down. So we're going to have to do this again.
Hell yeah.
We got to do this again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the gifts.
For sure. Absolutely. Ladies
I'm
and
going to have
gentlemen,
to like sew this on.
Sarah Clicks. Oh my God. Look at her. She is like big children too.
She went swimming was just
Oh yeah. She's just like a kid. Like,
but you are a creed, we don't fuck with them, but they fuck with me. Because I'm the kid, I don't need